Hi, I'm Prajnaketu, and this is the first in my series of the Essentials of Sangha Online. In this video, what I'm going to share with you are my 3 top tips for getting your Sangha online. But before I start, I must say that I'm not going to be giving kind of video walkthroughs or kind of tutorials on how to use the software or hardware that I talk about. Instead, what I'll be doing is I'll be posting links in the description to places where you can find out more. And actually, there's an enormous amount of good material out there. It doesn't need to be replicated. Instead, what I'm mostly going to focus on is how does this apply to your Sangha? You know, how do these platforms and these options apply to you? It's also worth saying this is a bit of a rough and ready video. I'm giving this a go in one take. Do as I say, not as I do, and that will become clearer as we go on, I'm sure. So my first top tip is to start simple. Yeah, start with one activity, one event, one platform, and get to know that platform well before then you start branching things out. It can be tempting to want to try to get the whole of your program online in one go. Don't do that. Just stick with one event, one platform, and then expand beyond that once you've developed confidence in that. It's interesting noticing the Dublin Buddhist Centre, which I'm just going to share with you now. So the Dublin Buddhist Centre started off with basically just one drop-in meditation and then one Dharma talk per week. And they're slightly ahead of us because of Ireland being different from the UK and perhaps other places. But now actually they've built that up week by week, adding on other events, bringing in some thoughts for the day, etc. as well. So there's something about just getting confident and then moving on from there. So my second top tip is choose your audience, because who your audience is dictates which platform to use. As a rule of thumb, I would suggest using Zoom if it's going to be for an internal audience. So in other words, an audience you already know, who are familiar with Triratna, and to use YouTube either in a pre-recorded way or live streaming if it's a new audience, if it's a general public audience, an external audience. And what I'll do now is I'll say a little bit about those 2 platforms. So Zoom is a video conferencing software, which is a bit of video conferencing software, which I'm going to try to share with you through here. So this is their homepage. It claims to be the top video conferencing app. Lots and lots of people are using it, and it's incredibly versatile. So what it enables you to do is to have calls of up to 100 people, where people can see each other, where you can organise breakout groups for discussion, as well as record the sessions too, and then upload it to other places like Facebook or YouTube, and much more. Yeah, the positives of Zoom are things like it has lots of capacity for interaction. Yeah, so between the speaker and their audience, between the audience and other people in the audience, so you can get a sense in bigger or smaller groups of community. The second pro to Zoom is that the free account gives you basically everything, but you can only host sessions up to 40 minutes long, which is fine if you want to break after 40 minutes. But the next account up, the pro version, enables you to have an unlimited amount of time in each of the sessions, and that's only about £12 per month. The third positive about Zoom is that it's very easy to set up. In fact, there's lots and lots of tutorials of how to get started, and then how to deal with all the different options that Zoom has. And it's actually a very, very powerful piece of software, although it's easy to get to know at the beginning. The main con is that it's actually a pro as well, but it's the capacity for interaction. So what that means is that when you're using Zoom, you will have to manage the participants to some extent, whether that's letting them know about how to, kind of what etiquette is in that particular session, or it might mean actually kind of muting them or even booting them out, which are all things you can do. I'll say more in my next video about how to use Zoom in that way. Zoom is ideal for internal audiences, so Mitra study, live questions and answers, or seminar style teaching. Basically any situation in which you want there to be some kind of live back and forth between the audience and a speaker, or within a study group. And it would be typically for people who already know you and maybe a bit more forgiving about things like production quality, you know, whether you stutter or or ah or whatever, you know, because it's a bit more of an informal setting. It also means you can see people, so you get a bit of feedback from them. Okay, then there's YouTube, which probably most of you are familiar with. It's a video upload and viewing site, and you can also live stream videos through YouTube as well. The main advantages are that your audience potentially is vast. You know, billions and billions of people use YouTube, are attracted to it. Whether you'll get all those billions of people tuning into your Sangha event is another matter, but certainly it's a wider audience than just an internal Tri Ratna one. The other advantage is you don't have to worry too much about managing the participants. Any interaction that you have with participants will come through the comments box. The disadvantages are that because it's so highly used and so well used, actually you're competing with, well, again, like billions of videos. So if your production quality isn't very good, or your content isn't very good, it will quickly be overlooked, and people will move on to something else. So it needs to be a very high production quality, very high quality of content as well. And I'll say more about that in a future video too. On YouTube as well, there's very little scope for interaction between participants, or between the participants and speakers. So people who are on there won't get much of a sense of community. And finally, perhaps more importantly, if you're starting out in on online activities at all, is it's actually quite technical to set up. At least you'll need at least if your internet connection is weak or unreliable, and you need at least a YouTube channel which has live streaming enabled, and even some streaming software ideally. So it requires a bit more to get it set up. YouTube is ideal if you've got high quality video that you want to share widely. Not so great if you want a community feel. Finally, on audience, obviously you need to tell your audience where to find you. So if that's an internal audience, you'll need to be communicating with them via your Facebook group, your email list, that kind of thing. If it's an external audience, you need to be on your YouTube channel, your Facebook page, your website. Now, in terms of Oxford, which is where I'm based and what we've been doing, we're going to be using Zoom, or we used Zoom on Tuesday, just gone, and we're going to be using Zoom for the near future, mainly because we want to create a sense of connection between people and interaction, and we don't have particularly high-end gear, as you can see. Yeah, so that's what we'll be doing, and maybe it will move on in the course of time. Okay, my third top tip is to do a trial run. Ideally a couple of trial runs, or even an afternoon of trial runs before you go live, if indeed you're going live. So the sorts of things you'll need to look at are things like, is your internet connection strong enough to be able to handle it? And if it's not strong enough, do you have a backup? So if you're relying on Wi-Fi, do you have a mobile with enough data to be able to stream a live video, or vice versa? So you need to be looking at your internet connection and its strength. Are you visible to your audience? Now, I'm aware at the moment that I'm in this situation where I've got a very bright light potentially coming through the window, but otherwise it's quite dark in here. So this isn't ideal for a high quality YouTube video, but it might be okay for a Zoom. But particularly thinking about lighting, as a lot of our events are likely to be taking place at night, you're going to need extra lighting, basically. One other thing is, what's the environment like around you? What's the background that people can see? What are the noises in the sounds in the environment around you as well? I mean, at the moment it's just birdsong outside, but I know if I wait much longer, we'll have some lively toddlers roaming around upstairs. So, but if you know that's the case, how are you going to adjust to that? If I was running a Sangha night now, knowing that family upstairs are likely to be coming home soon, I'd probably put in my earphones and a closer mic, just so it blocks out that noise to some extent. The other thing is, do you know everything that you need, that you want to do in your session? Do you know how to start the meeting, how to end the meeting? Do you know how to do breakout groups if you want to do breakout groups? Do you know how to view comments and respond to them, either verbally or by text? So be clear about, in your preparation for an evening, and while you're trialing it out, be clear about what it is you want to do, and give it at least a couple of goes. And the best way to do this is to get maybe 3 or 4 people to act as your audience, act as your online audience, and they can give you feedback through other media, whether they ring you up or whatever. But it's certainly a lot easier to do that, and to make those mistakes, because there will be mistakes. To make those mistakes with 3 or 4 people in your centre team or kind of close friends, rather than doing it with an expectant live audience of Sangha members or possibly members of the general public. You don't want to be doing that, really. It makes it all much harder to resolve. So these are my 3 top tips. Yeah, start simple, choose your platform according to your audience, and then give it a trial run. Try things out in advance. Yeah. So I realised basically I'm only scratching the surface of getting started. I've posted links in the description below that you can follow up more in the meantime. But please post comments, post questions in the discussion thread after this. That'll serve as a basis for well, me responding to them, but also future videos as well, so we can know how to direct future input that you might need. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe. You can even subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like. And yeah, lots of love to you all. Take care. Bye-bye.